Dear friends, good morning on Wednesday the 10th of March. I've always loved C.S. Lewis's illustration towards the end of his book Mere Christianity, in which he compares our lives to a house. Imagine yourselves as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, perhaps you can understand what he's doing. He's getting the drains right and stopping the leaks in the roof and so on. You knew that those jobs needed doing, and so you weren't surprised. But presently he starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts abominably and doesn't seem to make sense. What on earth is he up to? The explanation is that he is building quite a different house from the one you thought of, throwing out a new wing here, putting in an extra floor there, running up towers, making courtyards. You thought you were going to be made into a decent little cottage, but he's building a palace. He intends to come and live in it himself. I wonder if Lewis was thinking of how Paul uses the image of a house or a temple, sometimes to represent our bodies as temples of the Holy Spirit in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, and sometimes to represent the church. Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit lives in you? That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Now, the last 12 months have been a huge challenge to us as individual Christians and as a church. Many of us have been coasting along as Christians for a long time, taking church, Christian friendships and small groups for granted, and getting on with doing our best to love our neighbours and to witness to our friends. But suddenly so much of what we'd counted on has been stripped away from us. It's been an especially painful time for those who have lost loved ones, been ill, been unable to see close family and friends, or have had to shield. But it's also been a time of great loss for all of us, stripping away of much of which we've depended on. But I feel it's also been a time when God has been rebuilding his house. He's been refining us individually as we've been cast back on him in a deeper way. And he's been purifying his church to make us a temple more fit for him to dwell in by his Holy Spirit. Coming back to meeting in person is going to be a challenge. But I'm really excited about what God has been doing in us and how different our church is going to be and what he has in store for us. I do hope we won't be returning to the cosy little cottage that we once were, but instead to a palace that God intends to live in and from which he intends to bless our town. I'll be giving more details about coming back to meeting in person and our plans for Easter on Friday. God bless you today.